You don't stay broke because you lack money. You stay broke because of the quiet beliefs running your life that you never question. The kind that whisper things like, "This is just how life is," or "People like me don't get ahead." And the dangerous part is, those thoughts don't feel like lies. They feel normal. They feel true. But Stoicism teaches something most people never realize. Your life is not controlled by what happens to you. It's controlled by how you interpret what happens. Two people can face the same struggle. One becomes stronger, wealthier, more disciplined. The other stays stuck, repeating the same cycle for years. The difference isn't luck, it's mindset. A broke mindset isn't just about having no money. It's about how you think about effort, discomfort, patience, and responsibility. Most people with a broke mindset are addicted to comfort, but they disguise it as being tired or needing a break. They avoid difficult things, not because they can't do them, but because discomfort feels unfamiliar. And here's the truth most won't say. Growth always feels uncomfortable. Always. The Stoics believed that hardship is not something to avoid, but something to train in. When you constantly run from difficulty, you train yourself to stay weak. You teach your mind that struggle is something to escape instead of something to master. And over time, that creates a pattern. You quit early, you settle fast, and you start believing that life is unfair. When in reality, you've just been avoiding the very things that would change your situation. Another hidden trait of a broke mindset is blaming everything outside yourself. The economy, your job, your past, your family, your timing. And while some of those things may be real obstacles, Stoicism forces a harsh truth. You don't control what happens, but you always control your response. When you stay focused on what's outside your control, you give away your power. You wait, you complain, you stay stuck. But when you shift your focus inward, your habits, your discipline, your daily actions, you take that power back. The broke mindset waits for better conditions. The strong mindset builds better habits regardless of the conditions. A broke mindset also lives in short-term thinking. It chooses what feels good now over what builds something later. It spends quickly, quits quickly, distracts easily. It wants fast results without long effort. But Stoicism is built on patience. The understanding that anything meaningful takes time, repetition, and consistency. You don't build strength in one day, you don't build wealth in 1 week, and you don't rebuild your life overnight. But most people fail, not because they can't succeed, but because they can't stay consistent long enough to see results. They give up in the invisible phase, the phase where nothing seems to be changing, yet everything is being built. There's also a deep fear in the broke mindset that most people never admit. It's the fear of responsibility, because once you accept that your life is your responsibility, you lose your excuses. You can't blame your job if you're not improving your skills. You can't blame your income if you're not managing what you have. You can't blame your future if your daily habits are weak. Stoicism strips away comfort in a brutal way. It reminds you that you are responsible for the direction of your life, even if you didn't choose where you started. And for many people, that truth is heavy, so they avoid it. But avoiding responsibility is exactly what keeps them stuck. Another sign of a broke mindset is comparison, looking at others and feeling behind, jealous, or discouraged. But here's the truth. Comparison doesn't build anything. It drains energy. It shifts your focus away from your own path and onto someone else's timeline. The Stoics believed that your only competition is who you were yesterday. Not your neighbor, not your co-worker, not someone online. When you focus on others, you lose control of your own progress. When you focus on yourself, even small improvements start to compound. And over time, that quiet progress becomes powerful. A broke mindset also avoids discipline because it feels restrictive. It wants freedom without structure. But here's the reality. Discipline is what creates freedom. Without discipline, your money controls you. Your emotions control you. Your habits control you. But with discipline, you take control of your time, your focus, and your direction. The Stoics practiced discipline daily, not because they enjoyed it, but because they understood its power. They trained their minds to stay steady, even when life wasn't. And that stability is what allows you to grow, even in chaos. Another pattern that keeps people stuck is waiting for motivation, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel inspired, waiting for the right moment. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you depend on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Stoicism teaches something different. It teaches action without emotion. You do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. And over time, that builds strength. Because real power doesn't come from feeling motivated. It comes from doing the work when you don't feel like it. A broke mindset also ignores small habits because they seem insignificant. Skipping one day, wasting 1 hour, spending a little extra. It doesn't feel like it matters. But life is built on patterns, not moments. The small things you do daily shape your future more than the big things you do occasionally. Stoicism emphasizes daily practice, small, consistent actions that build strength over time. Reading a little each day, saving a little each week, improving one skill at a time. It may not look impressive in the moment, but over time, it creates massive change. And one of the most dangerous parts of a broke mindset is identity. When someone starts to believe, I'm just bad with money, or I'm just not successful, they stop trying. Because now it's not just a situation, it's who they think they are. And identity is powerful. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will act in ways that keep you struggling. But Stoicism teaches that identity is shaped through action. You become disciplined by practicing discipline. You become strong by facing difficulty. You become better by doing better, repeatedly, even when it's hard. Finally, the broke mindset is reactive. It reacts to problems, reacts to stress, reacts to life. But Stoicism trains you to become proactive, to think ahead, to prepare, to respond with control instead of emotion. Because life will always have challenges. That never changes. But your response can. And when your response changes, your results begin to change with it. If you really want to destroy the broke mindset, you have to stop looking for easy answers and start training your mind to handle hard truths. You have to understand something most people spend years avoiding. Being broke is not just a financial condition. It's a pattern of thinking that quietly shapes every decision you make. It shows up in how you talk to yourself when things go wrong, in how quickly you give up when something gets difficult, in how often you choose distraction over discipline. And the longer that pattern runs unchecked, the more it becomes your default setting. Stoicism forces you to interrupt that pattern. It asks you to pause and question your own thoughts instead of blindly obeying them, because not every thought you have is true, and many of them are the very reason you stay stuck. One of the hardest truths to accept is that effort alone is not enough if it's not directed properly. Many people work hard, but they stay broke because their effort is scattered. They chase too many things at once, start projects they don't finish, and move without a clear direction. That creates the illusion of progress without actual results. The Stoics valued clarity. They believed you must know what truly matters and focus your energy there. When your effort becomes focused, even small actions start to carry weight. But when your effort is scattered, even hard work becomes ineffective. There's also a silent habit that keeps people broke, avoiding learning. Not because they don't want to grow, but because learning requires humility. It requires admitting that you don't know something. And for many people, that feels uncomfortable. So instead of learning new skills, improving their knowledge, or studying what successful people do differently, they stay where they are. Stoicism teaches humility as strength, not weakness. The willingness to learn, to improve, to adapt. That's what creates change. The moment you believe you already know enough is the moment you stop growing. Another pattern that keeps people stuck is emotional decision-making. Spending when you feel stressed, quitting when you feel frustrated, avoiding responsibility when you feel overwhelmed. These decisions feel right in the moment, but they create long-term damage. The Stoics trained themselves to separate emotion from action, not to ignore emotions, but to not let emotions control their decisions. Because when your emotions control you, your life becomes unstable. But when you control your actions despite your emotions, you create stability. And stability is what allows progress to happen. A broke mindset also struggles with delayed gratification. It wants rewards now, even if it costs more later. It chooses comfort now, even if it creates struggle later. But everything valuable in life requires delay. Discipline today creates freedom tomorrow. Saving today creates security later. Learning today creates opportunity in the future. Stoicism is rooted in this idea, the ability to endure short-term discomfort for long-term gain. And the people who master this are the ones who break out of cycles that keep others trapped. There's also the issue of environment, which many people underestimate. If you're surrounded by people who complain, avoid responsibility, and settle for less, it becomes normal. You start thinking like them, acting like them, living like them, and you may not even realize it. Stoicism reminds you to be intentional about what you expose your mind to, the conversations you listen to, the content you consume, the people you spend time with. All of it shapes your thinking. If your environment reinforces a broke mindset, you will struggle to escape it no matter how motivated you feel. Another truth most people don't want to hear is this: discipline is not something you wait to feel. It's something you build through repetition. You don't wake up one day suddenly disciplined. You become disciplined by doing things you don't feel like doing, over and over again. Waking up early when you don't want to. Managing your money when it's easier to spend. Learning when it feels boring. Staying consistent when progress is slow. These actions don't feel exciting, but they are powerful, because they slowly reshape your identity into someone who follows through. A broke mindset also tends to overestimate big changes and underestimate small ones. People think they need a major breakthrough, a big opportunity, or a sudden change to fix their life. But in reality, it's the small changes that matter most. Adjusting your daily habits, managing your time better, being more intentional with your money, improving your skills step by step. These small shifts don't feel dramatic, but they are what create real transformation. Stoicism emphasizes this steady, consistent progress over time. Not quick wins, but lasting change. There's also a deeper layer to all of this: self-respect. When you don't respect yourself, you tolerate things that keep you stuck. You tolerate poor habits. You tolerate wasted time. You tolerate staying in the same place, even when you know you could do better. But when you start building discipline, something changes. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to respect your own effort. And that self-respect starts to influence your decisions. You stop settling, not because someone told you to, but because you no longer accept less from yourself. And then there's consistency, the one thing that separates people who stay stuck from those who break free. Most people are not lacking intelligence, talent, or opportunity. They are lacking consistency. They start strong and fade out. They get motivated and lose momentum. They take action for a short time and then fall back into old habits. Stoicism teaches persistence, the ability to keep going, even when it's boring, even when it's slow, even when results aren't visible yet. Because real progress is often invisible in the beginning. At some point, you have to stop seeing your situation as permanent, because one of the most damaging beliefs in a broke mindset is the idea that this is just how my life is. That belief kills effort before it even starts. But the truth is, your current situation is not your final destination. It's just a reflection of your current habits, your current thinking, and your current actions. And all of those things can be changed. Not instantly, but consistently. If you want to destroy the broke mindset, you have to become someone who acts differently, thinks differently, and responds differently, even before you see results. The truth is, destroying the broke mindset is not about chasing money. It's about becoming a different person. A person who thinks with clarity instead of excuses. A person who chooses discipline over comfort. A person who takes responsibility instead of waiting for life to change. Because the moment your mindset shifts, your actions begin to shift. And once your actions change consistently, your results have no choice but to follow. This is not about where you started or what you've been through. It's about who you decide to become from this moment forward. Stoicism reminds you that your power has always been within your control, your thoughts, your effort, your habits, your response. And once you truly understand that, staying stuck is no longer an option. So if this message hit you, don't just listen and move on, act on it. Start today. Pick one habit to improve, one area to take control of, one excuse to eliminate, and commit to it. Because small, consistent action is what breaks cycles that have been holding you back for years. If you're ready to take control of your life and build a stronger mindset, make sure you subscribe to PSYCHOVEST for more deep, no-nonsense Stoic truth that will push you to grow. And if this video spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because the right message at the right time can change everything.